It's September 20th, 2023, and South African police officers storm into the house of alleged crime Kingpin Nkululeko Mkhize. They make a rush to the bedroom, and instead of surrendering, he opens fire, now finding himself in a deadly shootout with the police. However, nothing could stop him from realizing that his fate was already sealed. Now, rewind back to a few days earlier when 5 people were brutally killed in an alleged settlement in the criminal underworld. What has this event to do with the death of Nkululeko Mkhize, and how did he go from successful entrepreneur to alleged crime boss? This is the rise and fall of the most notorious kingpin of Kwazulu-Natal. Born in Richards Bay, Nkululeko's journey was anything but conventional. He never completed school, yet from an early age, he displayed an unshakable determination to carve out a path for himself. Starting as a petrol attendant, he quickly proved that he had bigger ambitions. His relentless drive led him into the taxi industry, where he built a name for himself, and from there, he expanded into construction. It wasn't long before he secured lucrative government tenders, particularly through dealings with Transnet. Despite his young age, Nkululeko amassed a fortune that commanded respect, even from those far older and more experienced. His ability to navigate the business world, coupled with his undeniable charisma, earned him both admiration and enemies. However, success often comes at a cost, and in Nkululeko's case, that cost would ultimately be his life. His growing influence and wealth placed him in dangerous territory, where the lines between business, politics, and crime blurred. Whether his death was an unavoidable consequence of his dealings or something far more sinister remains a question that lingers, haunting those who knew him. What is certain is that his story is not just about one man, but about the darker forces at play in a world where power can be both a weapon and a death sentence. Nkululeko rose to prominence through a traditional game called Indish, meaning the dish, a common practice at weddings, bridal showers, birthday celebrations, and similar social events. Originally, a heartfelt custom where guests place money into a dish as gifts for the newlyweds or bride-to-be, the game has since evolved into a public display of wealth. It is now a fierce competition among big spenders, each eager to outdo the other by giving the most money. Contributions often start at 5,000 South African Rand and can climb to as much as 20,000 South African Rand in cash per person. As the money is handed over, the audience counts aloud, turning the act into a spectacle. At high-profile events, especially when elite business figures or politicians are in attendance, the total amount collected can surpass 1 million Rand. Nkululeko, however, took this game to an entirely new level. He cemented his status as a major player when he made headlines for giving away a staggering 1.5 million South African Rand in cash at a bridal shower. It was a bold move, not just an act of generosity, but a statement, an undeniable declaration of power and influence. His extravagant lifestyle extended beyond these public displays. He owned 2 opulent properties, one in the prestigious Zimbali estate and another in Palm Lake estate in KwaZulu-Natal, reinforcing his image as a wealthy and untouchable businessman. But behind the luxury and public adoration was a much darker side. The tender system in South Africa has long been plagued by corruption, often functioning like an underground syndicate controlled by politicians, government officials, and powerful business figures. These networks, known as the tender mafia, use bribery, intimidation, and even murder to ensure that lucrative government contracts remain in the hands of a select few. A widely circulated voice note from Nkululeko Mkhize confirmed his demands for protection money, solidifying his grip on the city's businesses. Every taxi operating within his territory was required to pay him a daily fee of 100 South African Rand, with collections totaling thousands each week. So much money that it was reportedly gathered in buckets.
Ungisizeke. Ungidonsele bona ngendlela abantu bakho singakubangi lokho engikushoyo. Uma kukhona othi ufuna ukungazi ungitshele. Ngizofika lapho. Ngonkululeko Mkhize. Ngizofika mina lapho.
Nkululeko was no exception to these allegations. Whispers in the business and political circles suggested that he had his hands deep in irregular deals, particularly involving Transnet. His wealth and influence gave him power, but it also painted a target on his back, one that would eventually lead to his downfall. Rumors continue to swirl about his possible involvement in illicit activities, particularly in drug trade. These suspicions gained traction after a violent incident linked to his name, where 5 people lost their lives in a brutal shooting.
Kwazulu-Natal police are searching for at least 5 suspects who this morning shot dead 5 people in Richards Bay. Witnesses say 4 people got out of a car and shot at the victims in the parking lot of a local shopping centre. The motive for the fatal incident is still unknown at this stage, and police are appealing for assistance from the public.
According to reports, unknown gunmen in a Volkswagen Polo drove past a parking lot near a car wash and suddenly opened fire outside a supermarket. The attack was swift and deadly, leaving 4 victims dead at the scene, while a 5th succumbed to their injuries en route to the hospital. Though no concrete evidence tied him directly to the crime, the speculation that Nkululeko Mkhize was responsible for this assassination only grew. Authorities suggested that a drug war might have been the driving force behind the execution-style shooting, refusing to rule it out as a potential motive. Witnesses who spoke to the press claimed that some of the victims were employed at a local car wash and were suspected of being involved in the drug trade. According to sources, the attack may have been the result of an escalating war between rival drug lords, each vying for dominance over territory and customers. Speculation soon began to circulate, with Nkululeko's name emerging as a possible figure tied to the violent conflict. Rumors spread that he may have played a role in the incident, either directly or through his connections. As the dust settled, police wasted no time in their response. The very next day, they launched a manhunt, determined to track him down. Their investigation led them to follow the trail of the victims, tracing connections back to Richards Bay, where the shooting had unfolded. Law enforcement split into 2 teams, one heading straight for Zimbali Estate, one of Nkululeko's luxurious properties. Upon arrival, they moved swiftly, breaching the home and making their way toward the bedroom. It was here that Nkululeko and an alleged accomplice refused to go down without a fight. Instead of surrendering, they reportedly opened fire, engaging in a shootout with the heavily armed officers. The police, forced to defend themselves, retaliated, and within moments, both men lay dead. The aftermath revealed a chilling sight: 3 9mm pistols, a revolver, 2 shotguns, and over 1,000 rounds of ammunition were discovered at the scene. The news spread like wildfire, dominating headlines across the country. But Nkululeko's death was not an isolated event. Across the country, similar clashes between police and high-profile suspects were becoming more common, raising questions about the true nature of these encounters. Being a police officer is more than just a profession. It's a relentless battle against danger, especially for those in tactical response teams and gang units. These officers operate in life or death situations daily, facing heavily armed criminals and making split-second decisions that could determine whether they live or die. News reports have been dominated by violent clashes between suspects and police. In Marianne Hill, 9 suspects were shot and killed after allegedly refusing to surrender. While authorities defend these incidents as necessary measures to neutralize dangerous individuals, an alternative narrative has emerged, one that suggests certain officers are not just reacting to threats, but actively seeking out and eliminating their targets. Some believe that parts of law enforcement operate more like a hit squad than a protective force, eliminating perceived threats before they materialize. When criminals openly challenge the police, the battle often escalates into a deadly power struggle where survival becomes the only rule. I'll get you before you get me. Nevertheless, his death sent shockwaves through the region. At his funeral, some of the most influential figures in Kwazulu-Natal were in attendance, a testament to the power and reach he had amassed during his lifetime. Yet, among those mourning him, there was a lingering sense of injustice. Close associates believed that the police had no intention of giving Nkululeko the opportunity to stand trial or defend himself in court. Instead, they felt that his fate had already been sealed before the raid even began. Nkululeko's life shrouded in wealth, controversy, and mystery, left behind more questions than answers. To this day, the true extent of his business dealings remains unknown, and the origins of his fortune continue to be a source of speculation. Whether he was a businessman caught in the crossfire of a dangerous world or a key player in the criminal underworld, one thing is certain: his story remains one of the most controversial in recent history. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment.